Good morning, everyone. It's so good to see you. Welcome to all of you here in the sanctuary and on Zoom. My name is Linda Krenicki, and I'm serving today as the worship associate. I'm a petite elder white woman wearing a polka dot dress. I'm so happy, excuse me, to be here with you today because I'm kind of feeling the letdown of putting all the Christmas decorations away. So joining you in worship lifts my heart and sustains me through the week. I welcome you with the words of Michelle LaGrave. We come to religious community from many paths and with diverse needs. If you have come here seeking comfort, may your pain be soothed. If you have come here looking for answers, may you find new questions. If you come here seeking purpose, may your call be awakened. And if you have come here hoping to build a new way, may the path open before you. Elliot is going to light the chalice for us today while I read the words of Stuart Kestenbaum. The flaming chalice is an enduring symbol of the Unitarian Universalist faith. This is the light of truth, the warmth of community, and the fire of commitment. Gather up whatever is glittering in the gutter, whatever has tumbled in the waves or fallen in flames out of the sky. For it's not only our hearts that are broken, but the heart of the world as well. Stitch it back together. Make a place where the day speaks to the night and the earth speaks to the sky. Whether we created God or God created us, it all comes down to this. In our imperfect world, we are meant to repair and stitch together what beauty there is. Stitch it with compassion and wire. See how everything we have made gathers the light inside itself and overflows? A blessing.
Good morning. I'm Zephyr. I use he, him pronouns. I am a middle-aged, hairy white guy in the classic P&W uniform of flannel and jeans. This is your reminder. We are social animals. To manage complex and constantly changing social networks, evolution has gifted us with a brain that requires regular social interaction to function successfully and deteriorates rapidly in isolation. Regular social interactions are a key factor in how well we age and in our emotional well-being. Friends give our lives meaning. Unless we make time to make friends and be with friends, we're taking the chance that we might not have time to have friends. The act of friend-making involves listening to stories over time. When you hear a little of someone's life each time you meet, after some weeks or months of listening, you find that you know that other person, that they're a friend. The Small Group Connection Circles SGCC program streamlines this process, giving you a time and a place where friends are ready to be heard. I sought out the Unitarian Universalist Church when I lived in Texas because I wanted to be part of a community. I wanted fellowship and an opportunity to help others solve community problems. I wanted more friends. I was optimistic that by volunteering and going to church service that I, over time, would naturally make friends. I met many people, and after a year, I had not heard many stories, and I had not made any friends. Then my family moved to Oregon, and I had to start again in Eugene to become part of a community. Almost immediately, I could not get away from people telling me about their positive experiences with SGCC. how many circles they had joined, the friends they had made, how many times they had facilitated. They would encourage me to join. 10 weeks seemed like a long time, so I declined. Our second year here, my wife participated, and I got to see what a small commitment the program really asks. Last year, I signed up for SDCC, and by the end of 10 meetings, I had 4 friends. We came together for 2 hours twice a month to tell our stories in person or by Zoom. Each person talked about their experiences and their feelings without interruption or interaction, while the others in the group simply listened. No debates, no arguments, no helpful advice. Just listening. Getting to speak without interruption is awesome. We came together once more to perform our optional service project. And the whole thing felt so satisfying that this year I signed to facilitate a group. The time commitment, even for a facilitator, is mild. And I'm on track for making 5 new friends. Everyone was right. SGCC is a friend factory. No joke, this is friend making with training wheels and a safety harness. The time commitment is clearly spelled out. Privacy commitments clearly spelled out. We are people of covenant, and this is a program framed by the shared covenant of the people involved. An agenda is provided with specific topics and relevant quotes for each session. The facilitator tracks the time and keeps the discussion on board. It's not guaranteed that friends will be made, but SGCC meetings provide great opportunities to do so. Each year we have 2 series of SGCC meetings with the same curriculum. The first series started meeting in November 2025 and is closed. The second series will start meeting in February 2026, and registration is open for that series through next Sunday, January 11th. Today, after the church service, information and registration help are available in person at a table in the south hallway, via a Zoom meeting starting 11:15 a.m., and at a presentation in the Inquirers class in the south foyer at 11:30. The online registration link is available on the SGCC webpage, which you can reach by the UUCE website, the Weekly Connections newsletter, or a QR code that can be scanned. If you haven't done this before, I highly encourage you to check it out. If you already know how cool it is, and you haven't already signed up, there are people here who would like to know you better. So consider signing up for SGCC today. Thank you.
I know that not everyone in this room is a person who prays, and prayer may not be an important part of your spiritual practice. The way I like to think about prayer is just stating the facts. This is the truth of my life. This is the truth of our lives right now. O God of our aching hearts, O God of fierce compassion, O Spirit of life, we need you to meet us where we are in the heaviness of these days. We are tired. I don't think we're tired because we stopped caring. I think we're tired because we care so much. I think we're tired because we love so much. We want to stay tender. We want to stay flexible. But the world is turning hard. We want to offer sanctuary, not just in our buildings, but in our bodies, in our listening, in our presence. We want to create shelter out of the pain that we too quickly turn away from. O Spirit of life, let our grief become a well of love. Let our tenderness be a balm to those who are suffering, and let our presence be a place of refuge. Amen. So, I haven't been around for a while. I kind of, thank you, I missed you guys too. I did forget a few things, like I'm supposed to give a visual description and say my pronouns. I forgot all of that. So I'm Rev Jen. I use the pronouns she and her. And for those who would find a visual description to be helpful, I'm wearing black slacks today and a red top, and I've got my purple and red stole on today. Since we've been apart, you guys have been doing a lot of good work here together. You have been building belonging, cultivating compassion, nurturing gratitude, and choosing hope. Do you recognize those as the spiritual themes that you've been doing for the last 4 months? I am so heartened to come back to a congregation that is vital and energetic and deeply, deeply committed to the work of justice in the world, and at the same time, so open-hearted in caring for one another. I am glad to be back, and I'm glad to be with you. As we enter the new year and what feels like kind of a new church start, I want to first thank all of the people who have helped to just keep everything running for the past 4 months. That's the sabbatical committee and the board. It's, of course, Dennis and Suzanne Reynolds that we thanked last week, Reverend Janet Oni. The staff have been amazing. So thank you for holding it all together. And I include Ryan in that list of staff because she did such great work. Yeah, she did. As we enter January, our spiritual theme for the month is practicing resistance. It's calling us to practice resistance. It calls us to remember our legacy as religious people, people of faith. It calls us to remember those religious ancestors who fought and opposed and protested and held their ground. Next week, we're going to talk about the role of the liberal congregation in a world such as this. The following week is going to be MLK Sunday, and I'm going to visit Dr. King's sermon called The Tough Mind and the Tender Heart. And at the end of the month, we'll wrap up with a Justice Action Sunday. For Unitarian Universalists, resistance is not only about opposition and protest. Otherwise, our justice work could be reduced to clanging gongs, right? Clanging bells and resounding gongs. Our practice of resistance rises from a deeper place. Our practice rises from a spiritual ground, the spiritual ground that says yes. Yes to life. Yes to one another. Yes to more love in the world. Yes to the inherent worth and dignity of every being on earth. And of course, above all, yes to love, and a refusal to accept anything that stands in its way. This kind of resistance is not always the loud kind, right? It's not the kind that's standing on the corner, and I know that a lot of you are out there standing on corners, holding up signs. That's so great. But sometimes resistance also looks like staying still and staying present, especially when it would be easier to run away. It's the decision to choose love again and again and again, even when our hearts are broken. The Native American poet Louise Erdrich offers advice about practicing resistance, especially from those who are living at the margins. She writes, "Resist the thought that you are alone. Resist the thought that you are alone. Resist turning your back on the knife of the world's sorrows. Resist your own disappearance. Resist your disappearance, because disappearance doesn't only happen when we are erased by others. Sometimes it happens when the world's sorrows become too sharp and we begin to withdraw and harden or just go numb. I heard you this morning through our ritual of joys and sorrows. I heard your pain. And I heard you saying, it is tempting. It is tempting to go in the direction of despair. It is tempting to give up. It is tempting to withdraw. It is tempting to harden our hearts. But there's something in you that said, no, that's not the way I want to live my life, and so I'm going to show up at church today. I'm going to show up for others. Resistance, then, is not only about going out into the streets. Sometimes it's about staying in, about staying connected, staying human. Some of the fiercest resistance can begin in the quiet corners that keep us whole. Those quiet, cozy corners of home. So I'll confess to you that one of my little secret pleasures is scrolling through Reddit, and there's a subreddit called Cozy Places, Cozy Spaces, and it's just a whole bunch of photos that people have taken of their warm little cozy reading nooks and the overstuffed chairs and fuzzy pillows. There are these little vignettes of cozy spaces in their homes. Small, orderly spaces inside a chaotic and sometimes overwhelming world. I guess it makes sense that I would find some relief and dopamine in that scrolling. This picture cat that you chose for our slides today, it reminded me of a lilac bush that was in my neighbor's house when I was a little girl. And after a heavy Ohio snowfall, its top branches would bend over from the weight of the snow, and it would create this little cave. And I loved going inside that little cave. It was just brilliant with bright reflected light. And I didn't have the language then to describe the bliss that this place filled me with. I knew that in that place, there was nothing expected of me. I wasn't supposed to be a certain way or act a certain way. It was such a feeling of freedom. It was a pause from the weather of the world. It was my little cozy space. So, Kat, thank you for that, for reminding me of that. You know, I, of course, know that physical shelter is not accessible to everyone. Last night in Lane County, 3,500 people slept outdoors. And I say this with the full recognition of the vital importance of housing every single body, right? But today I want to talk about a different kind of shelter, one that is available to everyone. And this is the shelter of the heart. Across many, many different spiritual traditions, shelter is a metaphor for refuge and nearness to that which is ultimate. For example, in Hindu devotional language, to take shelter means to entrust our fragile, finite selves to a compassion that is larger than anything that we could imagine. Mystics and contemplatives from all different faiths, they describe shelter as an inner homecoming. And in Hebrew scripture, to dwell in the shelter of the Most High is to abide in a presence that holds us when we feel most exposed and most vulnerable. It's a hidden place of trust that the outward chaos of the world cannot finally undo. These teachings from all over the world and throughout time suggest that the heart itself can be a place of refuge. And yet I have to be truthful. I have to tell you the truth, that when I seek that shelter during these dark winter days, when the leaders of our world seem apathetic to the suffering of others, and when I fear for the lives of the most vulnerable people, I don't find my heart to be a cozy shelter. I find a heart scattered with broken pieces. At first, it looks like a holy mess. All of this stuff. How could refuge be found here? But you know, when I look more closely, I see that all of these broken pieces, they're not trash on the floor. They're not. They come directly from my deepest love. They come beckoning me to despair at one point, and then the next moment it will point me to all that I cherish in the world, and then I say, yes, that is the direction that I want to go in. These broken pieces represent all that I love and all that I hope for. It is not trash. These broken pieces are precious to me. And so I welcome this mess. Okay, come on. I find shelter in my broken heart, and that's where God sits with me and cries with me. This is a very intentional practice, this practice of staying present to heartache, of resisting the urge to numb out or turn away. And this matters not only for our own personal well-being, but it is essential for our collective life. There's a wonderful theologian named Dorothy Zola, and she connected the tendency of the middle-class societies to avoid pain, connected that tendency to avoid pain with the broader culture of apathy. Now, she wrote during the Vietnam War era, and she describes such societies as apathetic, without feeling, unable to feel, without pathos. So even though she wrote during that time long ago, we definitely can describe our current society in this manner. She could be very well describing our own time. So there's a very important connection between your personal, individual, spiritual life and the effect that it has on the broader world. Yesterday, I got a text from an old friend who lives in Boston. She was just saying, hi, Happy New Year. And I just had this thought, this image in my mind and this memory of her house that I've been to many, many times. And I could just picture myself on her big couch with all the blankets next to the fire and her cats around. And all I wanted to do was sink into that couch and lean my head against her shoulder. And I told her that in the text. And as soon as I hit send, she was calling me. And at that moment, I was so overwhelmed that I couldn't speak. She offered me the shelter of her compassion, as if to say, you know what? I was going to watch football today, and your sorrow may bum me out, but I'm here. I'm here anyway. I will not abandon you. We can find the shelter in our own hearts, even if they are broken and bruised. We can find it in the shelter of community and friends and strangers too. We can find it in a faith that continues to challenge and sustain us. A few weeks ago, many of us gathered in a circle right here to light candles for Ryan. And together, we entrusted our pain to this community. Through presence and care, we created a sanctuary within a sanctuary. To stay open, to stay vulnerable and tender in a harsh world is not easy. It goes against the grain. People will make fun of you. They'll call you naive. But this is our spiritual work, my friends, to offer shelter to one another, to receive it when someone offers it to us. These are the acts of spiritual resistance. May the light of compassion and empathy shine brightly here and in our city and upon this whole earth. May it be so. Amen. Let's say the words of our closing together. We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we are together again. And now, my friends, go into this brand new year, this brand new month, this brand new week, with a freshness alive in your hearts. May it overflow with love for one another. Go in peace. Go in love.